All right, here we go. All right, let's see. Okay, here we go. Looks like we're live. Let me mute this because it is going to be.
Also, you can always text, say, hey, did you guys see this? I want you guys to listen. You know, if it just slips our radar too. So always text back too if I miss something.
So we're live, Madelaine.
Hi.
Hey there, everybody. So
Card pops out today.
Amalia and Madelaine here with a cosmic chat for the Taurus full moon lunar eclipse. And Madelaine, it's so funny. So Madelaine and I, the last time, for those of you who joined us a couple weeks ago, a little bit more than that, actually, I think now, for our live, we were together in person, which was super, super fun.
It was.
I actually
adventurous to come all the way out here to the Wild West.
It was awesome. It was so much fun. And it's funny too, because I had a friend that reached out to me because she was excited about this upcoming cosmic chat. And she said, how is it going to be to have the cosmic chat with Madelaine kind of going back to the online format versus the in-person? And I hadn't really even given it any thought until she brought it up. And then I thought, I think it's just going to feel normal and natural, kind of like when we did it in person. But the in-person part, we had to work through the technology of the in-person. So it was like we got to a place with the online space that was, we got our system, and then going into that, we needed a system. So
complicated. It was more complicated than we thought.
Yes. So now we are like, okay, so this kind of is like, okay, we got this one. This is like old hat. So this is no problem. So anyway, I'm excited about this conversation. This is actually this full moon eclipse is conjunct my natal moon.
Whoa.
So it is definitely
good.
It's definitely one that I feel is a culmination for me. And that, and Madelaine and I were talking before we went live about, just different aspects of communication and that feeling of stability that you have, that security when you are communicating. We've got Mercury in on the action here with this particular, there's an opposition for this eclipse. And when I think of Taurus to me is very stable. It's that need for feeling secure. And right now there's some instability, and it's a push for us to really find a sense of okayness with where we are and with ourselves as things are, and being comfortable with change. So we just came through this big season with the nodes in Taurus Scorpio. This is the final eclipse with that energy. Moving into the Libra Aries. And with that, that's a bit of a different energy, but it's one that that creates what am I trying to say here? Because there's like so much, it feels like so much to this. So we have that sense of stability that we desire with Taurus. As we shift into the next phase of that, which is Aries, self, Libra, relationship with others, we're finding that within ourselves. We're finding that even when, I was talking to Madelaine about a communication that, that I shared something and I didn't hear back from her. And I knew that it wasn't personal, but that wounding within me around that, because I have that Taurus energy, was activated. And I had to really sit with that and then be able to speak to it and to communicate it from a place of like, hey, just curious, versus, hey, you hurt my feelings, and because there's a difference in that kind of communication, and how I felt about it, knowing, okay, this is not personal. This is not something that I need to make a big thing about, but I do need to say something about it. And it really was just something that wasn't highlighted, that just got lost in the shuffle. And so just to, highlight that for folks coming up, like in this eclipse coming up, there may be things that you feel are highlighted or may be highlighted for you, but may not be for other people. You know, we have this, the Libra sun energy too. They may not know that this is important to you. It may slip through the cracks. It may not be highlighted for them. And for you to be able to speak to that in order for you to feel a sense of stability in your life, knowing that you have voiced something that's coming up for you. So
do you want to hear something really interesting on this topic a little bit, which is kind of the Sabian symbol of this eclipse?
Sure. Yeah, let's go.
Bridging, a bridge being built across a high, narrow gorge. So, and then it goes, overcoming distance separation, in endeavoring to build continuity, solving problems, bridging emotional chasms spanning gaps, going straight ahead, not looking down. Like, in other words, like you're saying, like, bridging a gap, bridging where there was a gap, or creating a bridge where there was a space. And so this is really great. I actually really feel very positive about this eclipse, by the way. So
I do too. I feel like it's a really powerful, it feels like a powerful eclipse. I feel like the last one was as well, but this one feels particularly potent, maybe because it's the completion energy of that 18-month cycle. And feeling for me anyway, because this last cycle was very activating for me, feeling like it's almost like I can come out of the darkness of it and like get a nice deep breath and be like, oh, okay, let's go. Versus this, like, I'm moving, but I'm still kind of holding my breath a little bit, like not able to take a full deep breath. And, just so everyone knows, this is happening on Saturday, October 28th at 4:24 p.m. Eastern, which would be 1:24 Pacific. And I kind of like, I love that the moons occur at different times of day, because then you can tune into how it's affecting you at these different periods of time. I mean, when you're sleeping, maybe you're having some really wild dreams at that time. And if you're first waking up, you can go out and you've got the sun and the moon there, which I think is the coolest, to be able to go and see the sun rising and have the moon there. And, there, especially when it's at the peak of it. And just how you engage with that energy and how you feel in the light of that based on the time of day. I just find it kind of fun. Anyway, so I'm going to let Madelaine jump into the astro forecast for that. And one other thing, sorry, I'm switching it up. So I know that I normally use the flower evolution deck, and we bring in the flower power. I was really guided today to change it, and I'm using the Crystal Spirits deck by Colette Baron Reed. And so we're going to be accessing crystal energy. And, if you have the particular crystal that I'm talking about, that's awesome. That might be one that would be really supportive for you, but you can just imagine that crystal, and even imagine that you are enrobed or surrounded by the light of that crystal, like imagining that a light is coming through it and it's circulating around you, and you're just enveloped in the energy of it, connecting with that particular stone. And it might be a really good support for you to have that, whether it's in physical form or energetic. So, all right, Madelaine, take it away.
All right. Yeah. Well, the before the eclipse is probably when things might be tense, shall we say, intense, because we have the sun currently squaring Pluto. It's building well, actually Pluto's at 27 degrees. The sun right now is at about 28 degrees Libra. So we have a square, Mercury squaring Pluto. So it's kind of like there's an intensity before the eclipse. But during the actual eclipse, when the sun gets to that 5 degree this eclipse is happening at 5 degrees Taurus. So when the sun gets to that position, we've really eased up on that Pluto square that we've been feeling, the intensity, paranoia, all kinds of things. There's a lot of fear going on right now, and I understand why. It's scary. It feels really kind of intense, these energies. But there's a grace in this eclipse, which I'm really excited about. And I think we need, and it is the wrap up of the shakeup that this eclipse has been causing in people's Scorpio Taurus houses. So stability, those eclipses were all about what you said, stabilizing unstable choices. So in other words, rearranging our choices to more stable choices. So now we're at the end of that eclipse. So we're going to see what that really brings. Eclipses are wild cards, but especially, I'm going to pop the chart here, especially when we have these nice things happening in this eclipse, which I love. You know, Jupiter's in the picture, which always means there's a solution, always means there's a resolve, there's an expansive result. When Jupiter's in the picture, something opens up, taking us forward to a better, expansive situation. And Jupiter is in this story because it is at 12. It'll be on this eclipse. Jupiter will be at 11 degrees. So it's quite far. It's a 6-degree difference. But the moon after the eclipse goes on to hit Jupiter that day. And because the eclipse is what happens when you have planets around the eclipse, even if your planets are not directly impacted by that eclipse, as the planets move that day, they might be. So hopefully some people might have, if you have unstable choices to be shocked out of, as it were, to remove from your situation, and you haven't, you know, basically it's going to rattle any instability that you have currently continued to, shall we say, foster. So we're going to see now in this eclipse, if you can see now, we have the sun here at 5 degrees Scorpio. Mercury is out of the square to Pluto. There is Pluto at 27 degrees. Is there anything squaring Pluto in this eclipse? Let's take a look at Pluto. Beautiful. Freedom from the Pluto squares, because we've been feeling this. This is what happened in the last eclipse. It was squaring Pluto. We had the wars start. So there's, you know, it's been tense. But now we're kind of a fresh of breath air. Some people may not really feel this eclipse that much. This might be a little under the radar eclipse for some people, and it sort of plays out more subtly. And some people have direct contact and connection with this eclipse. And so you're going to see something there. Yesterday I had a reading with someone who has Jupiter on this eclipse, and it's just like, whoa, something really great is going to happen. So it is very abundant. There is a very good potential for some sort of abundant breakthrough. A lot of people have been perhaps investing or shall we say in projects like owning property that they're trying to sell, or they have what else? Somebody else was talking. They had done a patent they were waiting to hear back from, and once it gets approved, they get to go forward, and they've got orders on something. They can make instant money. That's the kind of energy that can happen in this eclipse. Something can suddenly open up. A stuck situation that is your abundance is sort of stuck on, as it were, now becomes available, now goes through. So that's fantastic.
Would you say that's the case for everyone, Madelaine? Is that an overarching energy?
I'm going to take a leap of faith. Yeah, I'm going to take a leap of faith and say that this is an abundant eclipse for everybody. And I think that this is what we need right now to offset some of the struggles. And it's going to create balance and stability for people financially. I really do. I think Taurus is about the bull. It's about Wall Street. I think we're going to see an abundant increase in Wall Street prices going up. I think people, you hear talk about things coming down and crashing and stuff, and that could happen next month when the Sun and Mars conjoin. But this to me is a saving grace eclipse. and I think that we're all going to be held up through it. We're buoyant. There's going to be a buoyancy that we're up another level in our abundance, security. Because we have right now, today, we have a Venus trine Jupiter. And that's awesome. And that's hitting my chart really great. And that's hitting a lot of people's charts. And I'm getting nice abundant cards. So I'm leaning on the angle of optimism around finances in this eclipse for everybody. Because also, you see, here's the thing about eclipses. It may not impact you directly, but it might impact your spouse. It might impact people that you work with that are suddenly more abundant, that suddenly create more abundance in your life as well. So, and 5, this is that Sabian symbols, that 5 degree of the chart. It's not, so 0 degrees is always when you see something at 0 degrees, new things are starting, completely brand new baby situations starting. We have Saturn at 0 degrees during this eclipse, but it's trining the nodes. Wait, no, Saturn is trining the eclipse, which is awesome, sextiling the moon, trining the sun, which is great for everybody's career, great for everybody's work. And this, by the way, creates, because anytime Saturn has an aspect to the lunation, it represents a long-term re-stabilization, but also how you play the eclipse out determines how, the long results. So you want to take advantage of these positive energies to go forward, to take initiative, to be brave, to take risks in financing. But again, I always say intelligent risks, logic risks. Yeah.
So a question about that too. So when it comes to the type of risks you're taking, for instance, so I'm thinking about like alternative investments, things that aren't stock market related, something that's outside that scope. Would this be an opportune time for that? Because I feel like there might be a little bit of tension there, but that may not be a bad thing.
Yes. That's something that Scorpio is deep intuitive connection knowledge. If your intuition and you come across an opportunity that looks like it could be very abundant, right? And your intuition, you feel it, you're going to feel it. Ooh, feels good. Oh, that would be good. Bam. And pull a card, get your pendulum out, look at your chart, look at your chart. If you have a trine to any one of your personal planets with Jupiter or Venus, go for it. Guaranteed success. I've taken risks on such events and I've reaped many rewards from it. So utilize your chart, because it would be a personal thing. It would be you would have to see your own personal chart, and you would have to also be very intuitive. Scorpio means tuning into your intuitive knowing.
Right.
That's why you can take the risk. You feel it here, boom, right in here. It hits you like a punch, subtle punch. Oh yeah, that's what you want to listen to. And then check your chart. When I do readings, I look at three things. I look at your chart, we pull cards, and I look at my intuition, how my intuitive is hitting me on this. So Uranus
I literally just did that while you were talking, Madelaine.
Really?
There's a couple of things that have come up recently when it comes to investing that are very risky, like very risky. And I've been really drawn to them. Like they excite me. I feel this, and I had a little bit of a vision of the potential outcome. I'm not saying it's the outcome, but it's a potential. Right. And it felt very true. It felt very aligned.
And that might be the right thing to do. Yeah.
Pardon?
That sounds like it's the right thing to do right now already.
So I just looked at the impact of this, and I have a trine to Jupiter. The moon is trine Jupiter.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I started I did a hip camping thing. I just was trying it out, and I launched it on a Venus Jupiter trine on my chart. I can't remember if it was Venus trine or Jupiter trine. It doesn't matter. Both of those are good. I was booked solid all summer, and it paid my entire mortgage. So I was just for the whole summer. Yeah. So it's like a wow. And it was like a lot of people said to me, no, it's not going to work out here. There's tons of free camping in the area. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter. I wasn't losing anything. But anyway, so I think that's a very good sign, Amalia. And you know what? Make a small, like if you don't risk a lot, but make us, diversify, take a Scorpio Taurus is all about money. Yeah. So this is about that. So diversify. So take amount of money that you feel confident that, is okay if you risk. There's a good chance it's going to work out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel. And taking risks in finances is the nature of being a millionaire. That is how the astrology tells you. Scorpio tells you, take a divinely guided risk is how because you're trusting in the universe, you're not fear-based, and it just resonates at the frequency of abundance. And some people are very afraid of debt, going into debt, but you can work debt very well in your favor. And I see a lot of people, as I do readings for people who are scared about their debts and stuff, and I see it all work out. And then they boom up into another level of financial stability. Yeah. So astrology really wants to help us become more financially abundant. So or you're going to see, I have a feeling, mark my words, I think we're going to see an improvement in the stocks, and I think we're going to see something stabilize in the financial world. I'm leaning that way because I'm a little bit of an optimist because I got a lot of Jupiter in my chart.
You're definitely an optimist, but I feel like
Yes.
you're realistically optimistic.
Okay,
You're not talking about some complete
way
pie
out
in the
of
sky. There's the potential for it to be
yes.
good, to be okay. And I feel like that putting that out there is that's really valuable.
Yes. And if we're all afraid and holding back and not investing, not taking risks, I mean, we're stopping a circulation in the financial world, and that's just not good for financing. We're supposed to
Yes.
create circulation. We're supposed to create a movement, and it's a river, a flow, and it's constantly coming. So we shouldn't be so afraid of working our money and using money and going with it and playing the game, because it's there for that. It's divinely, it's shall we say, it's part of the game of abundance, of course. So all right, so that's that aspect of the eclipse that we're looking at. The other one would be health. So people want to look at health issues. Taurus involves health, but during this eclipse, let's look at Chiron really quick, because Chiron's really knocking everybody left and right. It's at 16 degrees Aries. So that's kind of good. That's not aspecting the eclipse. Venus on this eclipse is at 18 degrees trining. It's at a wide trine to Jupiter. That eclipse, that transit is waning. And then we've got, I'm just looking at other things that could be really great in this. Oh my gosh, this is a great eclipse. Oh my gosh, we have a kite. Look at the kite going to Venus, boom, with well, the MC, but like Mars. There's a nice kite in this eclipse with Neptune. Neptune's at 25. I mean, it's wide, the orb is wide, but on the whole, the energies of this eclipse are much nicer than anything we've felt in a while.
Which I think is a welcome change.
Yeah. Let me just quickly scan the nodes. Let's look at the nodes. What are the nodes doing? The nodes are on a wide square to Pluto, but that is a 3-degree orb. We could still be feeling some Pluto, the nodes squaring, which really is, I'm seeing very clearly that people are overcoming some really debilitating fears that are stopping them from progressing in life. And this eclipse is the last eclipse liberated me from a big fear. So we're really overcoming some big fears here, which is really empowering us. Aries Chiron empowers people very strongly. We're becoming warriors. We're actually being prepared. It sounds a little scary, but we're being prepared, and everyone collectively, I'm seeing, are really stepping into their courage and their power. And what are we being prepared for? To take our power back. The people are taking our power back because we've got Pluto moving into Aquarius. Pluto going back and forth over this point in the chart is getting everybody off their fear-ridden, debilitating, security-based, paralysis, as it were, to not really take life by the bull and go for it and take our dreams and risk and fight and go for what we want and create our abundance and change the world, because going our abundant path and taking on our, shall we say, the thing we want to do that scares us, but it is something that we want to do. We love it, and it will save the world. Everybody's stepping up to doing the thing that they love. That's what Jupiter trining in this eclipse is doing for us. It's helping us have faith in the thing that we're here to do, because the thing that we're here to do it. First of all, doing what you're here to do is going to make you younger and never get sick. It's just fact. I see it all the time. You have endless energy. You're happy. You don't age, and you're healthy. So people are building the courage to do it, to take that leap. Is it really safe for me to take this project on and go for it? And even though I don't see a financial abundance now for it, but that's what Jupiter wants us to do, because Jupiter wants us to make the world a better place. That's what Jupiter does. So if we're too afraid to do the thing that we have, that our gift that we have that can help the world, and we're afraid we can't make money at it, Jupiter's saying, no, that you can, I promise you. And not only will you find your abundant bucket of gold there, because Jupiter in your chart is where your money is, you're going to fix the world at the same time. And that's why it's going to make you money, because you're helping the world, you're helping. And right now we have to be faith-based. We have to do things not to create security in our lives, but we have to start doing things to change the world and change our lives for the better and not be held back by the desire for security. And that's Scorpio. You know, that's Scorpio, that's taking the risk. It's being brave. It's Mars. It's a drive. So, and Aries with the nodes in Aries for the next 18 months, we're going to be driven. I feel it. It's in my career house. And it's not even hard to do. You just feel it. It's just a flow. And that's the other thing with fire energy, because the nodes being in fire, you don't have to push. Whenever there's a planet in a fire sign, the secret to your success in handling your fire is to not, it's already a bazooka. It's already going out, fire energy. All you have to do is just hold it back a little bit and it will do the work. It will propel you. So working with fire energy in that nodes, it's going to happen. The only thing is your fear resistance is in the way. That's the only thing that's going to be a problem. And I hear people who are, you know, still resisting and operating in the fear and making fear-based choices, and they're not going very well. They're working extra hard. It's harder. So the more you line with your Jupiter in your chart right now, you take the cause of Jupiter in your chart, the more you're going to have this feeling of the universe just literally lifting you up and saying, thank you, please, will you do this? We need it, you know. So, and I'm seeing it, you know, with my work, because my work helps people activate their charts, their true calling, their true thing. And I mean, it's just going like gangbusters, and I'm loving it. So you want to love what you're doing, because that means you're in alignment. So this eclipse, in my opinion, stabilizes us where we have been unstable in the last 18 months, where we have thought that we were being unstable. It's been rattling us up, and it's scary because it's pulling what we have used as our stability out of our hands. And so we're like scared, and then it's rocky, because Uranus is in Taurus too. So what it's really doing is liberating us so that we stop getting out of our little secure cages, and we find a very much higher, better level of stability by doing that. We're reaching a higher level. We're going up, and human beings aren't very good at doing that willingly. We like the security. So the universe has to, these eclipses shake us out of our secure-based, fear-based, shall we say, non-movement. So the universe is always moving. Things are always fluctuating. We're always improving. We're always growing, and we're really reaching for more abundance. So that's pretty much the theme. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm leaving out here. Fears might come up. We still have that node squaring Pluto, but it's getting better, and people are stepping into their power. We're having a massive awakening happening. And that's encouraging, because that helps people realize that they've been lied to about abundance, it being dependent on the government, it being dependent on the stock market, it being dependent on this or that. It's not true. Our abundance is dependent on us, our level to work hard. Taurus is steady progress, working hard, planting seeds. Scorpio is about your energy frequency of faith. Are you operating in fear-based, or are you operating in faith-based? Have you been programmed to operate in fear, that there's a lack? It's a lie. There is no lack. We are an abundant planet. We are abundant people. The workforce is America's abundance, not the politics. So we're waking up that we are the creators of our abundance, not the system. We're here to work the system for our benefit. So that's what we're waking up to. We're having faith. We're having courage. We're getting out there. We're doing it. It's great.
It's great. So how about you mentioned the fire energy. Yeah, let's talk about the fire, starting with Aries.
Yes, let's start with Aries. Let me pop my chart up here with that. Actually, I'm going to see if I can do this. One sec. I'm going to try this little thing I've got here, which I've got this new program, and I'm going to go to hours. Where's hours? Hours. There we go. Okay, hours. Set for hour. Now I'm just going to go forward to Aries. Here, Aries. One sec. Give me one sec here. Gosh darn it, Aries. Where are you? All right. Well, I don't have that mastered yet. I'll get that next time. All right. So Aries, darn it. I thought I had that. We're getting there. We make progress. All
Oh,
right.
for sure.
Let me pop my map up. How did I not have this set up? Gosh darn it. Aries. All right. I'm just going to do it this way. Aries, you guys have Taurus over your second house, which is freaking great. Because this eclipse is hitting in your second house. So now eclipses in the second house can rattle your sense of stability because it removes an old way of making money and brings in a new way. And this, by the way, is a full moon lunar, so it's bringing us something. It's the apples are big on the tree and we're picking them. This is a sort of a harvest, end of the harvest, as it were. And so some kind of a financial result or financial upgrade that involves letting go of another source of financial security that you thought was financial security now goes away. You realize it's not. And a new financial, more stabilizing income comes in that most likely with that Saturn trine lasts the long haul. Anytime you see Saturn in the picture, we're looking at a 25 to 30 year, basically new start. So we're seeing a very new big chapter in your finances, liberating you, creating a long-term stability. Now, just to be realistic and not overly optimistic, maybe it doesn't look like you're a millionaire right away, but we're looking at the next steps and you see the abundant and you see the stability of it and you see that it's abundant and you're fine. So that would be Aries.
So what I find interesting about what you were sharing too is the crystal that came out is the lithium quartz for Aries. And I mean, with this, it looks like fire.
It does.
There's a lot going on. And what I find fascinating about this is if we think about the eclipse, where the current placement of the nodes being the Aries, Libra, Aries axis, I don't know what would be the proper way to say it? Aries.
North node is Aries, so really we're looking at Aries.
Aries,
okay. Aries, wherever Aries is in your chart is where your focus is, the dominant energy of your life is going to be for the next 18 months.
Okay, so what I find fascinating is since we're talking about the Aries, Libra axis, Aries, individual, Libra, relationships, let's just say, this has a lot to do with the lithium quartz, has a lot to do with harmony and interconnectedness, joy and peacefulness within relationships. So based on what you were saying, it feels like there is this energy of really being in tune with yourself brings in the abundance, brings in the opportunities, really lights a fire under you, for you.
I want to emphasize that because of the Scorpio axis on this eclipse is intuitive. So that is the smartest, most financially abundant people or successful people work with their intuitive knowing. I know it all. I listen, I hear it all the time. The other thing I just want to quickly add that we haven't added is that this is a Venus ruled eclipse. So relationships are definitely either out or new coming in as well. Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Well, and I feel like that probably was activated too during the last eclipse because that was Libra. Because I know a number of my clients and people that I'm in contact with have had a lot of relationship shifts since then. A lot of shifts. That have been for the best, but definitely not comfortable.
Yes, not easy, but better.
Yeah.
And also sometimes you can't end the relationship yourself. It's too hard. So the eclipse has to come along and do it for you. You don't want to hurt their feelings.
That is true. I mean, it's not fun being the dumpy. It's also not fun being the dumper. So either way, it's not fun.
Yes. All right.
Taurus.
Now we're going to Taurus. So Taurus has this eclipse in their third house. Or their 12th. Taurus in their first house. What am I thinking? It's in their first house. I'm winging it. I don't have my darn chart. First house Taurus on your ascendant eclipses. So if it's your sun and this is your solar return, no, it can't be your sun because it's in we're in October. So what's happening is you're going to be shifted in your life, but you've already been rattled about in the last 18 months. So we're really looking at the final chapter for you, some final lesson, some final shakedown, some final results, some, shall we say, the end of some story. And it brings you, it's like, as a metaphor, you've been painting a picture and it's been a big disaster and you've broke the thing and the canvas didn't, and where you had to start over. Well, now you have the painting and it's beautiful and you're going to stick it up on the wall. So we're looking at the results of this, the whole 18 months, and it's a reward and it's a lesson. And I just did a reading on a Taurus rising, and she's been going through such a shaky relationship thing, but she's learned a very big lesson that really is going to stabilize her relationship, because she's been giving her power away too much to the relationship. Now you know how to be balanced. You know how to create your own life within the relationship. It's hard to do sometimes. So, Taurans are, this is a resolve, this is a fruition, this is the end of the journey for you in some way. And I'm going to go with beneficial. Now, if there is a square on this eclipse in your chart somewhere, maybe there's a crisis involved that you haven't shifted in some area yet that needs to shift, but the result will be that you are more in your own center self. And this whole year will be a year of change. If it's on your sun, for sure.
So I love what you're sharing. And I love that this is the crystal. This is the Seraphos green quartz. And I know if you can't see this super well, I'm sorry about that, but you can get the gist of it. I love the green and the blues in this, connected with the heart. You know, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is heart. You have blue. So there's a little bit of communication, but I feel like it's more communication with your heart, communication within yourself.
Yeah, earth color, earthy, Taurus, earth.
Yeah, true. And then the kind of the message from this is life on life's terms. And how I receive that based on what you were saying is accepting, you know, and Taurus is all about accepting where you are, accepting that there is change, accepting where, accepting yourself. And so it's accepting your place in the world. So within a relationship, for instance, you know, accepting the truth of it, accepting that maybe it isn't the right one, accepting that there's something more aligned for you, available for you. But life on life's terms, you know, that's something I feel like maybe a great contemplation point. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think that is exactly kind of what we were just saying, you know, how you are, because you've had so many shifts and changes during this eclipse that you've released you've surrendered to some kind of path that, because you can't control the eclipses. So you're sort of surrendering now. You've been shaken up to the point that you don't resist anything anymore. And you're just like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to happen.
All right, let's just go.
I just accept it, you know.
All right, Gemini.
Yeah. Gemini. Okay, so you guys are having this eclipse, Gemini ascendant in your 12th. You're going to have Taurus in your 12th. So, so you've been having a big spiritual plot, probably health challenges, because 12th and 6th is activated. You're going to have Scorpio over your 6th. Is that right? I got to make sure that's right. Somehow that feels like Virgo has Scorpio over there. No, that's right. That's right. So basically there is a resolve around a health issue, but it's spiritual because Taurus is over your 12th house, which means, and when I say spiritual, it's not necessarily like, you know, praying and all that kind of stuff. It's like you have a soul understanding of the source of a repeat pattern in your life that creates instability. And it's based in, and your health being Scorpio over your 6th, there's a health issue, but this is a resolve, a finish of the health. This is a fix of the health problem. And there's an awakening in your spiritual house of the soul issue that is causing you this problem. And there's a good chance you quit something in this eclipse. This might be the final time where you realize, no, I really can't do gluten anymore. I can't drink alcohol anymore. Something like that, because there's a soul is able, now there's a strength in the soul to take it on. Because that's usually what happens in a series of eclipses in the 12th house is you become, the problem that is the growth that your soul needs to make in this life is sort of accelerated. And so there's an accelerated growth during these eclipses in your soul where you suddenly become aware and you know that you need to change something, and there's a soul ability to do it. I was told somebody, it's really weird. Somebody is with an alcoholic and they were saying they never change, they'll never quit. And I go, you know what can happen? And this happens often, especially with a 6th and 12th house eclipse, is you just wake up and you can do it. You can just quit. Your soul just goes, I'm done. So that's this kind of an eclipse. Your soul just goes, we don't need this anymore. We're fixed. We're healed. I'm fixed. And now the material playing out of that issue, which is coming out in your 6th house in the material realm, it can show up, but it's done. You're fixed. You're on the new path. I mean, you know, it's, and Jupiter there, see, everything that happens in this eclipse, whatever happens to you in this eclipse is opening you up for the Jupiter, to the abundance. So you had this soul issue that was scary and stopping you from, you know, a health, you were afraid of a health issue. Some people do, they have symptoms and they're afraid of them and they don't look at them. And now you look at it and you see you fixed it and it's easy. And now you're more abundant because you're healthier.
All right. I love this. I love this card for, oh geez, let me see if I can change this. Let me turn this light off for a second. There we go. Then you can see it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Labradorite. Labradorite for me is a stone of transformation. And it is one where you are connecting with all the multidimensionality that's available to you. So
Ooh.
literally when you were talking, you said the word awakening as I just looked in the little guidebook, and I read the word awakening as you said the word awakening. So that is super highlighted right now for folks to really pay attention. If you're a Gemini, awakening to the magic within and awakening to and opening yourself up to unexpected, potentially, sources of support. So whatever that may be.
Very cool.
For Gemini.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. I fixed my problem. I've got it set.
Oh, yay.
So now we've got Cancer on the ascendant, and now we look at this eclipse is happening in our 11th house. Fantastic. So it's possible in this eclipse you meet new people, you meet a person that then expands your mission, your purpose. And by the way, the eclipse you see a week before and a week after. So, you know, you want to, and it plays out in the next 6 months as well, until the next series of eclipses. But usually you'll see something happen within the 2-week window. And I have for sure been meeting new people that are so in alignment with my astrology interest. It's weird. So you're going to be meeting new people, new tribes, or it becomes very clear because of the eclipse in a solar. It is a full moon lunar, but this eclipse illuminates an abundant relationship or new tribe group or your soul group or new friends, and also sibling. The 11th house is older sibling, and I have a Taurus older sister. So there can be some kind of a harmonious resolve in a relationship with a sibling. But what we're really looking at here is the right supportive relationships, because you're going to have Aries in your 10th house of career. So this is a very big boost. And plus you've got Saturn trining the ascendant. Cancers are going to have a really great year. So you're going to have Saturn trining the ascendant all year, the nose in your 10th house. Cancers are strangely career centered. They have Aries over their 10th. So they're quite motivated. People don't expect that with Cancer. They think that they're not really career driven, but they are very much so. And so now you're going to be really grounding it. You have your hands on it. It's good. In the next 18 months, you can really cause a lot of traction in your work, because wherever the nodes go into Aries is kind of like an initiation for another 18-year cycle. So whatever tracks you build and you start and you launch into can really last you a good 18 years. So you want to make sure you're doing stuff that's really in your true destiny, that's really your calling, because then you're using this time to support you for a long haul. So Cancers are really motivated, driven, and then they're going to find a lot of benefic support in tribes, friends, people you meet. There's a lot of support for Cancer here. They're going to be really on a very, very fast-paced trajectory. We call it skip step. So it's almost like, let's say you were in management, you now become CEO. I mean, it can be that crazy where you suddenly skip 2 positions up in your job or in what you do. And it has a lot to do with what's happening in this eclipse in your 11th house, because you're meeting people that accelerate you, that will accelerate you. Go ahead.
I love clear quartz for Cancer. Based
Wow.
on everything that you were saying, because clear quartz is all about amplifying whatever it's attached to or connected to. So, you know, I always tell my clients, if you really want to boost any stone or anything you're working with, you use clear quartz. Now, it's also great for growth and expansion. So everything that you were talking about for Cancerians really would benefit from a little boost to their career, to their lives in whatever form that is, and amplifying the focus for them, you know, because maybe they haven't been quite sure. Do I do this or do I do that? Really being able to amplify, oh, this is it. And then being able to like just explode on the scene with whatever that is for them. So,
and quartz is always really clarifying. It's a very clearing energy, like it clarifies. So clarity obviously comes for Cancers and how they can really track forward.
And paying attention to what's good in your life to amplify more of that, because that's another piece of the puzzle too, is like sometimes, I mean, all of us can get caught in the fear loop and that fear cycle. So really, you know, to expand more, you've got this clear quartz, focus on what's good, expand that
Absolutely
more too. So
that goes across the board for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we can shift this planet if we all focus on what we can do that's good, and we focus on the better, and we focus on where we can fix things. I'm telling you, we can change this world. So that's great.
Yeah.
All right,
Leo.
So you guys have it in your 10th house, which again is really cool. Oh wait, I want to go this way. One sec. Leo, let me get my, Leo, you have this eclipse in your 10th house of career. So some effort that you've put in this last eclipse, in these last 18 months around career shifts and efforts that you've, because your career house has been rattled in these last eclipses. So you've got a fear squaring Pluto. And I know, Leo, I'm thinking of my son. He's afraid to step out and run his own business, but I'm telling you, his chart supports it 100%. So I'm telling him, you can do it. You can do it. He's too afraid to quit the job, right? So these eclipses might shake you out of your stagnancy in a job situation that is not right for you. And you are far more abundant, reaching out, taking that risk, taking that leap, going faith. Scorpio, the sun in Scorpio, have the courage, take the risk. In your careers. So something really good, a result of all the, I would say, resistance. If you have resistance, you might not like it. You might be very afraid. And I don't even know, maybe my son got fired. You know, you could get fired from a job in that last eclipse because it activated the 11th house, the 10th house. So there was some squares going on there to that 10th house. But so you're getting a result, you're getting a benefic result, a stabilizing long-term new step of action in your career house. You could get fired. And if you are, be hallelujah, yay, you couldn't do it yourself. God did it for you. If you get rejected, it's protection in these energies, and an eclipse, go with it. It's for your best. I'm telling you, you want to get out of that situation. I remember one person called me, says, my manager doesn't like me. She's really abusive, but I'm doing my best. And, you know, and I said, this eclipse, and she goes, no, I got fired. And I said, believe me, God was on your team there. You aren't supposed to stay in a situation where people don't like you and it's not working. It doesn't feel good. You shouldn't be there. So I'd say very positive new shifts and shakeup. This is a shakeup eclipse. So we're looking at upgrades in your career, abundant and lasting. Whatever shift happens in this eclipse with that Saturn in the picture, trining it, is your career being blessed for a good 25 years. It could be that you get fired and you start a new job and you're there for 25 years, or you start your own business and you're on fire for 25 years. You maybe retire after that, but this is a good chapter, new chapter for Leo.
Leos, we're looking at selenite.
Nice.
And selenite is one of those, in my book anyway, one of those go-to clearing stones. When you're looking to clear your energy, I use it when I clear my cards. I use it when I clear stones. I use it to clear not so much a larger space, but smaller things. I will sometimes use it within my own energetic field. So the way I'm receiving this card is that it's about clearing out whatever energies, whatever activities, whatever job, whatever beliefs, thoughts, whatever that is, clearing that out in order to make way for what is destined for you. And also being flexible and with how you engage with that energy. So it may be that it's not exactly how you envisioned, whatever that is. It's not going exactly the way you thought. So just being fluid, being flexible with that, and knowing that there is a clarity that will come. Something will be illuminated in this full moon, and you will know the path to take, the route to go. So, and selenite's a great one for just to have in general. I highly recommend this and clear quartz for everybody.
Don't you think that image looks like you're bursting out of a fear?
It could, and you're spiraling up. So it's like you're raising your vibration as you're spiraling up.
Yep. And you know where Pluto is for Leo? In their 6th house of work. So this is a big fear bust through, breakthrough into some kind of a fear that's holding you back from abundance in your work.
Well, yeah.
Cool one.
Well, and that's, 6th house. So it's your day-to-day activities. What are you doing every day? How are you utilizing your time? What are you focusing your attention on?
Yeah. And so now you're busting through some sort of a fear. And that's what I think everyone is doing here. So, but in particular for Leo, it's involving career. Taking some kind of risk in your career that you're afraid to do, like start your own business. But if your chart supports it and you've got good planets in your 3rd house, my son does, and 2nd house placements, you have a talent and ability to make money on your own talent. Do it.
Do it. Exactly.
Don't listen to the lies in your head. Don't listen to them. They're lies. All right. Virgo. Okay. So, wow. So this is a Earth. Wow. So this eclipse trines Venus in your first, currently actually it does kind of trine Venus. It's a wide trine. I mean, it doesn't trine Venus, but sorry, I'm being confusing here. The eclipse energy is trining your 1st house. So if you have a planet in your Virgo house and you're at the same degree as this eclipse, it's fantastic abundance. Okay, really good abundant eclipse for you. Now, Virgo and Taurus, both earth signs, in my opinion, most Virgos are healers, intuitive medicine types. And Taurus, again, is a earth energy. It's in your 9th house. The moon is in your 9th house. The sun will be in Scorpio in your 3rd. And there's a lot of planets, by the way, in this polarity. We've got Jupiter in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, the moon in Taurus. And then in Scorpio, we have Mars, the sun, and Mercury. So there's a real polarity going on in this eclipse. And it basically, the 3rd house is, and the 9th house is macro to micro, the 3rd house writing, small businesses, starting a website, starting a podcast or writing project. But having in the 9th house trining your ascendant is basically you waking up to a whole new perspective that makes you way more abundant. You'll get some kind of big idea. Or I do know Virgos that have been working on projects that have not been providing the fruit or results. You're going to see results. And it's something about shifting your belief. Some kind of a shift of your perspective helps you create a sudden opportunity or opening of abundance, because it squares Pluto in your 5th. So you've had Pluto in your 5th. You've been really working on relationships. And and fears of maybe taking on creative projects or taking risks in creative projects. But we're having a big shift in your belief system that it somehow opens you up to another level of abundance that puts you on a new path. Potentially you start your own business because of this third house sun. You have, shall we say, new courage in yourself because this is trining your ascendant. You feel more empowered somehow by this eclipse, and it's sextiling your third house. So this something opens up, it flows, it's abundant, it's easy. You suddenly opportunities. By the way, these earth sign eclipses can bring in material opportunities that are abundant, that now maybe you may suddenly get a sudden happening where you get this offer or an opportunity comes in and you start a business around this opportunity because it's suddenly making you money, because Venus is in your first house, which is great for your income, having Venus in the first house and romance. Or you could suddenly, I forget to add this, so everybody could step into co-mission, soul contracted relationships, joint missions. Venus is also romantic. So, all right, I think that kind of
I think you covered it.
Yeah.
So for Virgo, you have Bixbite. So, all right, Bixbite. It's coming through looking a little bit red, but can you see there's also these pinks? And whenever I see like a pink or magenta or any sort of color like that, I think of it, not magenta so much, but a pink. I think of the center of the heart chakra. It's this beautiful, I see it as this beautiful pink center with green on the exterior. But then there's also some red. So there's a grounded nature to it, which reminds me of Virgo. And like a root chakra, like a stability. Now, you literally mentioned one of the attributes of the stone was courage.
Good.
And the one aspect of the stone that really shone through for me was that this feeling of full speed ahead, like whatever it is that you are, that is heart connected and that has the momentum behind it to go full steam ahead, go. And there's also a divine connection to it too. So there's a spiritual component and a spiritual aspect to whatever project you're working on. That's where the energy is coming from. It's that divine push that's leading you down that path and just having courage to do it. Like it's time to go. It's time to do it. It's time to go full steam ahead. So Bixbite for Virgo.
Yeah, and I like that because Pluto's leaving your fifth house, which means you've really cleared a lot of codependency issues and being in the wrong kinds of relationships that are more fear-based, attachment-based. And now with that card, it just looks like the heart is winning, the true inner heart is like that. So it's very romantic, that energy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
See, it's very romantic.
To me, it's kind of sweet. You know, there's a sweetness to it also. I mean, because even when you look around, you know, it feels like there's a divine presence and guidance that's
really, if you want to say divine love coming in for Virgo, that card really kind of, and I know a couple Virgos that would be very happy to hear that.
Okay, Libra,
you guys have these eclipses, the next set of eclipses in your house, your first house or your ascendant, depending on what you have going on in your chart, but it puts Taurus over your 8th house. Wow. Scorpio over your 2nd. So 8th house eclipses can bring a passing of somebody, but usually by now you would know that it was happening. But also inheritance and investment. You may have made an investment now is bringing you results, is going up. Let me pull the chart for that. Focus on that. You've got Jupiter there. Excellent. A sudden increase in your income that stabilizes you for a good 25 years. You could get into a relationship because your Libras are rattling that cage. You're ending false relationships because you've got the South Node in your house. So you're not really being Libra as much, which is Libras are always seeking connections and they jump in and out of relationships like popcorn. They just like bounce around and they bounce out of them and bounce into them. But these eclipses are going to really make that harder for you, and you're going to really need the authentic, true person in your life, you know, with these eclipses at the end of this 18 months. So it's potential that this eclipse brings you the real stabilizing relationship that is abundant for you, because if you've been in the wrong relationships, it would have challenged your abundance. I'm sure of that. And so this next eclipse opens up your abundance. You get an inheritance, you make a relationship with someone where your joint finances create instant abundance, or an investment pays you back. You have results, you sell something, you suddenly get money. You've been trying to refinance your house. It can refinance now. Now you have the money to buy another house. I do think the economy is going up in this eclipse. I don't know for how long, but I think for a good couple of weeks, we've got some good stuff going on here with the economy. So perhaps there's an abundant result to an economic risk that you took, because the 8th house is stocks and stuff. What else? Your fears are going to get triggered, deep fears of survival. And then something happens, you could get triggered, but something happens and you now see that you're surviving now. You're going to be stable for a good 25 years. Maybe one of your investments is now really stabilized and giving you a good amount of income. Maybe you had a house that you were renting and it wasn't any renters. You couldn't get any renters. Now you get a really good solid renter that's going to rent now for a good 25 years, and you have a really solid income through that rental property. You may have invested in it, you may put money into it, and you've been nervous as heck that you won't get that money back. Well, now you will. This is a good eclipse for everybody. Uranus is there in your 8th house, so we could see a radical shifts and changes that liberate you financially. I mean, that's really great. Uranus, if you took risks in the stock market, a lot of people did, and they lost a lot of money. But if you keep it in there to the full, if you're Libra rising and you made financial investments and you hold on to that, you keep it there, because by the time Uranus leaves your 8th house, it will liberate you financially. Whatever risks you took 2018 in May, when Uranus went into Taurus, that's when I bought my property. That day, I bought more than I could handle because I knew that transit was happening. My dad thinks I'm lucky. And I said, no, I'm following my chart. My transit. I know what I'm doing. You can really have a windfall by the end of this 8-year transit. So hang in there with any kind of investments that look shaky. You're probably seeing good results. By this eclipse, you will see good results.
All right. So Libra, we have kyanite for you. And kyanite, to me, you know, it's one of those, I mean, you can see there's a lot of blue in this, but when you see it in person, the stone itself, it's got it often has some grays, sometimes some off whites, sometimes browns, but blue is the main color. When I think of blue, I think of the throat chakra, communication. It can also relate to emotions, because we have that blue energy. What's so funny about this is that when you were talking, I wasn't feeling so much resonance with the 8th house placement, but I was feeling a resonance with the Libra energy of harmony and resolving disputes, building bridges. So there might be some things happening for Libras where, in order to access their wealth, it may come through bringing in a harmonious relationship, or maybe you've been blocking that. The other aspect of this too is a non-attachment to what your wealth looks like. So it may come in different forms. So it's like, you know, to use the examples you were talking about. So maybe you invested in property, and you thought for sure that was going to generate wealth. Maybe you thought it was going to be a great Airbnb option or something like that. And it wasn't. And then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to sell it. And then you end up selling it and you make way more than you ever anticipated. Yeah. So so don't attach to what you feel like, or not really what you feel like, what you think it needs to look like, because it may come through in a very different way. Yes. And you can be pretty sure that a lot of Libras, those are the people you're going to be seeing ending relationships. and then, like you say, they're aligning up to their more abundant partnerships, because they can't stay single for very long. But in the next 18 years, in 18 months, they got to learn a balanced play between themselves and relationships. So now they're going to learn how to balance in a right relationship. And that's going to be another 18 months of lessons for them. So, but the abundance looks stable, I think,
because of this
Yeah.
eclipse for Libra. Okay, good.
Nice.
Nice. All right.
Scorpio.
Scorpionic. You guys, this is an intense time for Scorpio, no doubt about it, because they're going to have Mars in their first house. They're ruled by Mars. Mars and the sun are going to conjoin in your first house. I have no idea what the heck's going to happen to Scorpio. I mean,
Great, Madelaine. That's
I know. No, let's just say that the intensity is there for Scorpios, but these eclipses bring a resolve in your seventh house of relationship because Taurus is over your seventh house. So that's wonderful. Just Taurans might get in the next 2 years, might feel very sort of battly, fighty. And so you're going to want to do a lot of Zen stuff and go walking by water and meditation for Scorpio. But the point of this transit for Scorpio is to give them the courage to take risks, because Scorpio is the energy of taking divinely guided risks and connecting to God. The more Scorpios this goes across for everybody, really. The more spiritual we go right now, the better everyone's going to do. The less attached we are to some sort of material thing that has to happen or a story, the better we're going to do to trust, because we are really shifting a paradigm. So we're really seeing massive shifts. And Scorpios with this eclipse, this is the end of this journey for Scorpio too. They've learned a big lesson about relationship balancing. And they're taking more courage on their own initiatives to step forward and change their lives. So they're going to need to be brave. And I'd say that they probably broken up in the last 18 months. Relationships have been under the shaky test, the test of the how solid is this connection? Can it withhold the 18 months of eclipses? And if you're still in a relationship and it held, it's holding, it's going to hold. And it is going to hold. But you might be pretty feisty for a couple of years because this is happening in your first house. And so I would say that Scorpio are empowered, because I would say that they probably gave their power away to their relationships. So now they're more empowered. So they might be a little too far on the pendulum, but that's okay. They're going to find the balance here. But this eclipse brings them a result in their relationships, a very positive, abundant relationship result. So some sort of abundance opens up for them through the seventh house. And they're liberated. You're going to be more liberated. In other words, you're going to stop giving yourself too much to a relationship and you're going to feel liberated. So it's intense. I'm not going to lie, for Scorpio, because that's the nature of your sign. But I think that you're going to learn, you've learned something in the last 18 months eclipses. And now in this eclipse, it's the resolve of that lesson. It's like, I know how to be me. I know how to walk my own path, or there's definitely an overcoming of some kind of fear. Scorpios can be kind of paranoid. So there is some sort of, it's possible something shows up that triggers you, that you've been kind of paranoid about, that you now see through clarity through, and you're resolved from it. So it's liberating as well. But the Scorpio energy is going to have an intensity because they're going to have Mars in their first house. So, and then we're going to have a lot of planets in Scorpio's house. After the sun goes into it, after this eclipse, Mercury's going to be there. Venus is eventually going to get there. So Scorpios are in go time, because Mars makes you take action as well. So let's see what card comes up. Yeah.
So before I share the card, I just wanted to share one personal aside, and that is, I definitely can feel that liberation energy and also that feistiness. And I've had to watch myself with that and pull back a little bit when I'm just kind of not coming at, and this is mostly with my partner, not coming at him, but more like, no, or this is just being very direct, and it has like, this is how it's going to go. Where before I was a little more easygoing about it,
right,
but I had a preference. I just wasn't really speaking to the preference. But now it's, I mean, he even made a comment about it jokingly the other day, and I'm like, that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, Mars in your first house makes you feisty. You lash out a little more. You know, that's why it's good to be aware of it. You know, when I have, and if you have Mars transit in your 7th house, if you have Taurus and you have Mars, you might really lash out at your relationships if you have Taurus in your chart too. So I really, when I know that's happening, I really I'm really conscious, you know.
Yes. So I've been aware of it. But to me, there's also that fine line between coming into that balance within yourself where, okay, I wasn't really speaking to some of these things before, but I am now. Maybe I can say it a little softer, gentler, not quite so harsh. But it still needs to be spoken. Still needs to be said.
That's right. Because you have Pluto in your 3rd house. So karma is in Scorpio, has been playing out in their 3rd house, which is all around communication. And how are you communicating to control the situation? Or are you communicating because it's important for you to communicate? So now there's a sort of an understanding of what communication is really for. And most Scorpios have learned this big lesson now about communicating because they need to in order to keep their waters stable, because Scorpio are very unstable waters inside. They're very emotionally like this. So their karma gets played out in how they communicate. And so Scorpio have learned to communicate in a very positive way, I would say mostly. Yeah.
Mostly. I'll speak for myself. So, yes. Okay, we have fluorite here for Scorpio, and fluorite. I love fluorite. This one looks more on the green side, but it can also come in multiple colors. And it's just one of those that shows all the different levels and gradients of life and your life experience. And fluorite activates clarity and purity, but it also helps you with a clear focus. And I feel like with Scorpio, sometimes things aren't very clear. They can be murky, and we can get caught up in our emotional waters and not be able to see things clearly. So fluorite can help clear up some of that murkiness and help you focus a little bit more on what is your pure path, what is the clear path, and end the cluttered thinking of, you know, I know I'm just tuning into the energetics of this as a Scorpio myself. Oftentimes when I'm going into the depths and I'm looking at all the different aspects that are there, some very clear, some not so clear, I can get caught up in all the different pieces instead of sticking with one and really understanding and feeling into that piece so that I know what to go to next or what action to take or healing some part of myself. And until you do that, you can't really move forward fully.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And it does really look like, I know it's not blue, but there's something about that feels like throat chakra.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and then we're looking at abundance with it. So because this is a breaking through eclipse. So there's an abundance on the other side of this. There's some lesson learned that now opens you up to more abundance.
Nice.
Great.
That is great. That is great.
Okay, Sagittarius.
Oh,
Saggies. This eclipse, as I'm clearing my throat chakra, I'm Sagittarius sun, so I don't feel the Sagittarius transits as strongly as I do Cancer, but they still feel them, and they're pretty fun when it's a good eclipse like this because it's trining your 5th house. So you're going to have the nodes in your 5th house, the North Node, for a good 18 months, which is new friends, creative projects. It's great. Love it. Very good house to have the nodes in. And then we're going to have this eclipse, boopity boopity boo, where's Taurus? Taurus is in your 6th house. Interesting. Well, that kind of interesting. So we're seeing so day to day, it can be work, but can be a lot of Sagittarians are musicians, and the 6th house, they usually have an instrument ability. So something opens up around their creativity because they have the nodes in their 5th house. So there's some sort of creative opening that makes them more abundant, a new job, a new relationships and friendships. Possibly you get a new job and or new clients or something, and then you meet new friends around that, and your creative projects sort of take off, creative projects opening up. Scorpio's in your 12th house. So the sun is there in your 12th house, illuminating the source of your insecurity, the soul, where you're holding yourself back. Wow, you have so many planets in Scorpio, it's Mars and Mercury. Potential conflict, you know, could occur because Scorpio is a slightly conflicting energy, but there is a resolve. It's potential that you had a conflict with somebody in the past, it comes back, it's resolved, and then you get involved in a creative project and things open up. And also health, this is a resolve of a health issue. Thinking of my son, you know, because he gets very stressed out. So this eclipse could really create a certain stability that relieves him of certain stresses in his work. So it's almost like something happens where you're not stressed out, which is causing you to get sick or not focus on your health. And so now you can really take care of yourself better, things stabilize. Trying to think of something else here. Where does Jupiter? Venus is in your 10th, a good career upgrade for you guys, Sagittarius. Saturn is in your 4th house. Oh, so new structuring, restructuring of your living situations, working from home more. Let me think one other thing. Should I see anything else? Where's Jupiter is in your 6th house. A resolve of a health problem. I know a lot of Saggy risings that have had a cyclical issue with their health because the eclipses have been in those houses. So sort of like a fix to some health problem, which happened to me because I had that tooth taken out, which was infecting, giving me headaches. And you know that I had a screw in my tooth that somebody put one of the dentists way back on a filling, and I had no idea that I was fighting an infection there. So it's like now it's gone, and my health is like 100 times better. So that, and I'm Sagittarius sun, so something like that.
Well, for Saggies, you've got the pink sapphire as the gemstone, and
Nice.
pink sapphire, the message is choosing to heal. So pretty aligned with 6th house health.
Yeah.
But really being in tune with that healing journey versus resisting it in some way, and letting go of maybe a rigid belief you have, or letting go of something that's been holding you back around that health journey. Forgiveness is also part of this. And soothing the heart is also part of this. So that it might not be quite so apparent to your healing. It may be physical in nature, but the root of it may not be physical in nature. And
the sun being in Scorpio, your 12th house, you are coming into contact with a connection to a fear or a past life connect, or some kind of a trauma connection to that 6th house. Exactly that. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. And we are marching along here to Capricorn.
Yes, great. Capricorn, let's put so you guys are having this, so for Capricorn, the Scorpio is in your 11th house. This is an 11th, 5th house transit. So you are looking at new tribes, new friends, perhaps new romantic relationships. Venus ruled eclipses bring love. Absolutely. It's in your 5th house of relationships, friends. Great to have an eclipse in your 5th house. You've been rattled along. You've lost friends in the last 18 months with these eclipses there. You've let go of friends that haven't been right. Now your new tribe, your new friends, you're really in alignment. This is a great eclipse for Capricorn. Pluto is leaving your 1st house. My gosh, are you guys transformed? You're whole new people. You're a new person now. This is a happy eclipse. The 5th house is the house of joy and fun and play. And then we've got the sun in your house of the 11th house, which is the house of gains and support. You meet new people, you find out who is truly supportive for you, who supports your travels, what are the right friends, or your journey, I mean. And the North Node being in your 4th house for the next 4 to 18 months, you're reestablishing a new living situation and you could change a few more of those locations. You might be moving a lot. Whenever you have the eclipses series in your 4th and your 10th, you're getting a lot of movement in your living situations. What else can I say? This is more abundant. This is a lucky gains. This is an eclipse that brings you lucky gains. Financial abundance through connections, through people that you know. I'm thinking of a Capricorn rising. He probably is going to meet a bunch of new people. He moved, and he's going to meet a lot of new people and new friends, because he's moved to a whole new new location, and you may just meet one connection that connects you word of mouth, and your work just kind of takes off. That's pretty much it.
I love it. And so we have rose quartz.
Wow.
For Capricorn.
Romantic. Mm.
And when you were talking about fifth house, I mean, and it's, to me, that is love. There's so much love there. This is about self-love too. I mean, rose quartz is the ubiquitous love stone, but it's the focus here is about loving yourself, recognizing your worth and your value, and then using that for inspiration for creative projects or new friends groups or people that you're connecting with, because you have that sense of being enough and not needing to outsource it to other people.
Yes.
And then not falling for any false beliefs that tend to rattle around in your brain around your worthiness, around who you actually are, and be able to quiet those voices in your head.
Well, that's interesting too, because I think of this Capricorn I know, and he's been slogging on some creative projects because he's had the eclipses there, and they sort of have been doing better. But a creative project, if you've Capricorn, you've been struggling on a creative project for 18 months, you now have success.
Fantastic.
And
I know
it's
a couple
abundant.
Capricorns who would be happy about that.
We're talking pentacles. When I do card reads and I get a lot of pentacles, I go, wow, you have a very glittery read. This is very glittery, sparkly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the glittery. Yeah, I actually have a tarot deck where it has like the shimmer on it. Yeah, and it literally looks like that.
Oh, that's great. They should make it extra glittery when a pentacle comes out.
Yeah. All right, Aquarius.
So Aquarius, you guys are having this eclipse. Taurus is over your 4th house, and then you've got the sun in your 10th. So this is the last. I know some Aquarians that have been having home issues. They invested in a property and they got stuck with it and they couldn't sell it. And but now that's cleared. You're probably going to be able to sell it. This eclipse might actually bring you the selling of a property, or you abundant result. Your house suddenly goes up in value and you qualify for a really good second or something like that, and you liberate yourself some way. But this eclipse is going to bring abundance and a result over 4th house matters, property, real estate. Again, you could move, and you can, because it's in the 10th house polarity, so something can occur, a clear thing. The sun there, taking a risk in career, taking more brave, being courageous, changing a career, enabling you to upgrade your living situations, stabilizing. Most likely you stay in this new situation for a long time. Maybe you discover where your home is in this eclipse, and you then really commit to it, and you're staying there for a good 20 at least years. But we're stabilizing the end of this journey around your 4th and your 10th, and it's been around living situations, property, real estate that have been rocking your sense of security. You now stabilize and feel a source of security and stability around these 4th house things. You've got, shall we say, Jupiter there. So we could see a very nice, abundant result of, you could sell it more than you thought. What else? Expansion. Now you see you have enough money to purchase another property, invest in real estate. That would be really good for Aquarians right now with this result, or an investment in real estate pans out, or family. 4th house family, mother, your mother could pass away in a 4th house eclipse. It can happen. Families change, shift. You get into a family. You've been struggling alone, and now 4th house eclipse, you are in a relationship, someone moves in. All right, let's see what you get.
So we have petrified wood.
Ooh.
Let's see, where can I put this so that you can see? There we go, petrified wood. Now, petrified wood, for me, like the first message that came in when I saw this was learning from the past. However, not getting stuck in the past. And it felt ancestral in a way. We have that 4th house. Yeah. Now, I know an Aquarian who you were talking about, obviously it's home, and you were talking about selling a home. Well, this is a very much karmically fated situation that she has with her parents, with their home, and an elder abuse fraudulent scam where they lost their home and are now moving into some place that is, you know, it's okay, but it's not ideal. And there's a lot of financial struggle. I actually did a live with her on Instagram a few weeks back they have a GoFundMe to help support that process because they lost everything.
Wow.
You know, all of the years of her parents emigrating here from Russia and working for, I think, 40 something years here, like everything's gone.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a really tough situation. And for her, you mentioned the 10th house. For her, her career was just starting to take off and it got completely halted because of the situation with her parents, with their health, and with this home. So the petrified wood message is to have patience with whatever's going on and trust the universal flow, trust what is showing up. And, you know, I kind of feel like for her in particular, and this may relate to others too, that whatever you're going through right now that relates to home or family may have a positive impact on your career later. So it may be that what she learns from this experience is something that can be translated into another aspect or facet of her career.
Yes.
For an example.
Right. Yeah, I think she's going to see some salvation in this eclipse. I think something turns around for her.
Yeah.
And she'll see the reason this was all shaken up for her. Something good's coming from it. Sorry, that's challenging. That's hard.
Yeah, there always is. So, okay.
All right.
Here we go.
But not least.
Pisces, yes.
Oh, whoops, I went too far. Pisces, come back, Pisces. So this eclipse in Taurus is in, where are we having Taurus? Why did I not feel? Taurus is happening in your third house. So this is a 9th house, 3rd house eclipse. Now, remember, this is the last of this eclipse. So you've now have a spiritual awakening. I know my son is rising Pisces. He's definitely really made some very seriously sort of big internal spiritual shifts about himself, about his life. I mean, he's really had a spiritual sort of transformation in the series of eclipses. This is empowering you because this new spiritual understanding or this new perspective is now putting you in a much more abundant situation. I can see it for him. Because Pisces is a very spiritual sign. You really are supposed to operate more in water, Zen flow energy, in faith, sort of connected to your intuitive guidance, intuitive center self. So this eclipse is sort of waking you up that that's how you create your most abundance, as above, so below, working with the unseen realms. You're going to see that, even if you don't call it that, even if you're a man and you don't want to call it that, it's spiritual. You sort of are now connecting more into intuitive intelligence as being a true source to your path to abundance, and understand, because Pisces have the worst doomsday storytelling habits. So I'm hoping this eclipse, and I've seen my son working very hard on it. He's like, am I doing better, Mom? Am I saying it better? I said, yes, because I make him go home and come back, I hang up and I say, call me when you can talk in a more positive way about this, because I can't work with you when you're talking so negative about it. So really becoming more positive. I mean, this is a spiritual upgrade in their soul. And then we've got the 3rd house, because Taurus is actually in their 3rd house. So practical ideas, ways forward, communication, perhaps starting a business, perhaps a blog, writing, stuff happening, or you've made efforts in these areas, your Instagram feed or your networking thing starts to open up. You've got new clarity as to what works. And it's when you are more spiritual, when you're not trying so hard. Anybody ruled by Jupiter should never try that hard. It blocks it. So now they're going more spiritual. They're not trying so hard. They're more in faith. Whenever you have an eclipse in your 3rd and 9th house, you actually increase a level of faith. Jupiter is in your 3rd house, challenging your thinking to more abundant thinking. So we're seeing a transformation, a big spiritual transformation that increases their living situation, their work, and the potential they are making new friends, new people around them. new roommates, because the third house is people that are around you on a day-to-day, siblings, creative projects, because Taurus is so creative. It's ruled by Venus. You could start a relationship with someone who's in your vicinity. New neighbors somewhere else in your chart. You move, you have new neighbors, you start a business, you make new people, you start sort of co-collaborating in projects. Third house, let me think what else. You may have an idea I just did a read on someone who's Pisces rising, who's been thinking of an idea for a website, a YouTube channel, and they're now going for it. They have a lot of confidence. They see clarity that it's spiritually and that it helps people. It's good. You get a spiritual idea. You get a suddenly awakening to operate from a more spiritual level for something. And then it works, because Pisces are really supposed to operate that way, you know. They're the least action of the zodiac sign. That's why people think they're lazy. They're not really. They're just contemplative. They're connecting to the higher realms. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. I was chuckling throughout what you were saying, because of this card and because of things that have been happening within my personal experience with my partner, because it's just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. So we have malachite.
Nice.
Is the stone, and malachite, you know, I love malachite. Malachite was a stone that I worked with a lot when I was going through a huge transition in my life. And I really wanted to harness and access the power of my thoughts, my intuition, and that inner knowing. And it was like this gateway transformation stone to me. And I had it in jewelry and I had it around, and it was just really fantastic. So one of the aspects of this is integrating thoughts and intuition. Pretty much what you said. I mean, you were literally doing this with your hands, you know.
Yeah.
And you also said, I wrote it down, to connect with your intuitive intelligence. Same thing.
Yes.
Intuition, intelligence, you know. I mean, that is the huge message, I think, for Pisces, is to, you know, more than you think you know. That's a huge part of that. And to really trust the messages that are coming through. So I want to share kind of a really quick, funny story that happened last night with Misha. He was leaving a gig, and there was a frog right on the center of his, like right in front of on the windshield, right where he would see to drive. Okay. Wow. And he tried calling me, and he couldn't reach me. And then I called him back right after, but he had sent me videos of the frog on the windshield, because he's like, babe, what's going on? Like, what is, because I'm always talking to him about animals and their messages. And the frog is, multiple messages with the frog, but one of them is about taking that leap.
Frogs leap. Yep.
They leap. You know, it's also about that connection between the earth, land, and water, because frogs are in both. And so, you know, not quite the same as what we're talking about with intuition and intelligence, but a little bit, where it's like you're really accessing your emotional field, while also then when you take that action in the earthly plane. And it doesn't, like you said, they're not super action oriented, but when they know, they know.
Yeah.
When you know, then do. Yeah. Versus doing for the sake of doing because you feel like you have to or you need to. That's not how you go. That's not how you roll. And
because they have Virgo on that axis, they're opposing Virgo. And usually when you have these axes, you probably have planets there, but there's a tendency to just be busy for the sake of being busy, because it makes you feel better and you feel like you're going somewhere, but really you're just wasting your energy just being busy.
Yeah. But
if you take intuitive guidance, you know.
That's the other thing too, is that, you know, with him, he has a Capricorn sun. So there's that innate sense in him of busy and doing and working hard already. Yeah. And then he has that intuitive knowing when it comes to a lot of things, but he can often block it within himself. Yep. So the frog was also a reminder of there are a lot of lily pads to jump on. Don't just jump for the sake of jumping, but there are times when you really do have to take that leap of faith.
Right.
And there was,
Obvious it's now, if he's got a frog hitting on that face, bam, on that windscreen, it's like, take this leap if we can't be louder about it.
you know, it was just hilarious to me. And I loved the fact
And
that
that picture looks like a frog.
oh my gosh, you're right. It totally does. It totally does. Oh my gosh. It really does.
Anyway, that's interesting. So Pisces, this is a message. Take that leap of faith.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
It will bring abundance.
Yeah. So I agree with you as far as the overall energetics of this eclipse, this full moon eclipse. I feel like it's really, it's going to be, for some, it may feel like a lot, and for others, it may feel okay.
You may not notice it much. Yep.
Yeah. But either way, there's still this recalibration that's taking place, and just another phase of our evolutionary journey.
Our destiny is not entirely in our hands, and these eclipses take us to our true destiny.
Yeah, wow. I feel like that's right
Like
there.
it or not. Yep.
Yeah.
We can stop right there. I'm
I
kidding.
really, like, I just want to be like, okay, end.
Bye.
Oh gosh, that was great. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's fun. I'm glad that we did this. It's fun. Thanks, Amalia, for organizing it.
Well, and actually, I only looked over once at the chat. Let's see if anybody has anything to say. Nope, no comments. So that's good. Please do comment though. However, when you're watching the replay, catch it on my channel. Also give Madelaine some love on hers. And if you're on Madelaine's, then come over to mine, give some love on mine.
Give us likes,
subscribe, all the good stuff, because it really helps. That really helps us fulfill our mission, which is to share this information with more people and
help everybody through this.
Yeah, exactly. So we thank you for joining us. There's information about us below this video, and I will also leave some information around the deck. If you are a card person and you love using the cards, I'm going to drop a link to my Amazon store so that you can purchase it there if you're interested, and that'll send a little love my way, which would be ever so awesome and appreciated.
You know what? The flower cards, somebody left a message on one of my videos saying, I can't buy any flower cards. They've all sold out. So maybe because you're the reason they all sold out.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, there's only a limited number of the flower cards. So yeah, those are no longer around, but this deck is, so people can access that one pretty easily. So I'll leave the link here for anyone who was interested in those. And then we will see you all in 2 weeks, and for a Sagittarius new moon.
The sun will be in Scorpio. The sun will be in Scorpio. So it'll be a Scorpio new moon.
Scorpio new moon. Yeah. All right. So we'll see you all.
Have a great week, couple weeks till we next see you all. Hold steady. Hold the faith.
Everyone's got it. You got it.